We're Mark and Melissa Greene, and we started our journey to being a foster parent about 3 years ago. Melissa and I got married kind of late in life and spent about a year and a half trying to have kids of our own, and it just didn't pan out that way. So after spending a lot of time praying and thinking about it, we decided foster care was our way to go.
And we thought about adoption. We also knew adoption was a very long process, and it might be 3 years, 5 years before we could actually have any children in our home. And so we thought at first fostering was possibly the way to go, and we still weren't convinced until we started taking the PATH classes. And as we went through the training process, the Lord just grew a passion in us for the kids that are in foster care and what they go through in life.
Seeing really the need that these kids have, it became overwhelming at times, and there was questions of, can we do this, can we do this? But the more we got into it, and the more we went through the classes, and the more we realized the kind of support we would have here at Childhelp, we realized that this is doable. And the more we understood about what was going on, the more we began to realize that this was not just something we wanted to do, and it wasn't just a desire to have kids, but it was really something that we were called to do, to reach out and be available to these kids, give them a safe place to be, and just love on them. Give them some time to where they can feel safe and loved. Our very first foster child, we actually, she came into our home on the very last day we completed our training to be foster parents. She was a 16-year-old teenager named Brittany, and sweet girl. And we got a call that day from Childhelp saying, we have a placement for you, but we need to know right away. And and we hadn't really thought about teenagers in our home. We had really thought about smaller children, and toddlers and things like that. And I can remember Melissa calling me at work saying they need to know by 4 o'clock.
And it was 2 o'clock.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? But I just took that time to just pray about it and think about it, and the answer had to be yes.
It was, now is where the rubber meets the road. You make a decision now, yes or no, and you have the child's future in your hands, basically. So it was tough, and I spent the whole time, while Mark was at work praying and trying to seek the Lord in it, I spent the whole time talking with Stephanie and Brittany's caseworker, and just trying to understand where she was and what she was going through and that kind of thing. And I had come to the conclusion from that conversation and that I felt like we should take her. And when he called and said we should take her, we knew it was meant to be. Well, when we first got Brittany, we had already known that we were going to be getting a 2- and a 3-year-old. We had gone to a meeting that same week, I think, or maybe just the week prior to that. And there were 2 children who were in another foster home for Childhelp and needed to be moved into another home. And so we had gone to the meeting and gone to meet these children a couple of times and fell in love with them. And so we were preparing our home for them. And they came in a week after Brittany did. Not quite a week after Brittany did.
So we went from
no children
and 2 cats to us and 3 kids and 2 cats in a matter of a week. So it was we were very busy for a long time trying to get ready for this.
Yeah.
But it's been a wonderful experience. I was thinking the other day about what it's been like to be foster parents, and as you go along the road, you'll come to milestones, things that just kind of stick out to you. And one of the things that stuck out to me, there was 2 instances that stuck out to me that made me think this is what we should be doing. The one was the first time that Brittany called me Dad, and I never thought about that. We'd always talk about, well, what are the kids going to call you, and they could call me by my first name, Mark, or they could call me Mr. Mark or Mr. Greene, And just one day out of the blue, Brittany said, hey, Dad, and I just kind of looked around like, who are you talking to? Because I'd never been called Dad before, And I just kind of looked at her kind of funny, and she says, well, that's what you are, right? You're Dad around here. And I'm like, I guess I am. So that just kind of made me feel like this is what we need to be doing. And with the little ones, I can remember, they were kind of apprehensive coming into our home. Even though they tried to show a brave face and stuff like that, you could tell they were nervous about it. But I can remember the smallest one, the 2-year-old Cornell, climbed up on my lap one evening, and we were just kind of sitting on the couch watching TV. And it was almost like that she just kind of snuggled up and let out a deep breath and just kind of like relaxed. And you could just tell she felt safe, and life was good for her. And that was me going. That was a sign to me going, this is what you need to be doing. When you can see the stress that some of these kids are under, when they come into your home, just kind of lift, and they get to that place to where they feel safe and they feel secure, then you know this is what you need to be doing.
I think one of the things that was in my mind most of the time was, I'm going to make a mistake. Something's going to happen. I'm going to make a mistake. And Scott said, he said, you will make a mistake. He said, just know it. You're going to make mistakes. That's going to happen. So you learn from those mistakes and you go on.
This is not a journey that you walk alone. I can absolutely say that Melissa and I could not have done this if it hadn't been for being a part of Childhelp. The people here are fantastic, and there's not a time that I don't talk to any of them that they don't end their conversation by going, is there anything you need from me? I mean, we spend a lot of times talking about the kids and what the kids need and what we can do to make their lives better, but there is a great support structure here for the foster parents and the foster families. And so it may seem overwhelming, but it's not a burden that you're going to carry by yourself. It's not a load you're going to carry alone. You have great caseworkers, and everybody here is very supportive. And there's not been a time that we've not called and said, hey, we need help, that somebody's not been right there. But there's also opportunity there to reach out to their parents and their families, to get to know them and to help them and help them get to a place to where they can get their kids back in their home. So it's not just kids, but it's families. I think families are the support structure of our society and our communities and our country. And anything we can do to strengthen families is a good thing. So this is an opportunity for that as well. So if, I would say to people, if you want to reach out in your community, you want to impact lives, you want to help children and help families, this is the way to do it. This is a good way to do it. This is important to me because there's such a need for it. I would like to say that this is an area in our society that is dwindling away, and someday there's not going to be a need for it. But unfortunately, that's not the case. There's such a great need for foster families in this country. And we continue to do it because I can't imagine there being a child out there that needs a safe place to be, and there's no place for them to go. And being a foster parent, we are that opportunity. We are that place that kids who unfortunately are in situations in life that kids shouldn't be in, or that they're in for whatever circumstances, but they need to be put in a better place, even if it's just for a short period of time. We're that place, and it's never going to end. I mean, Melissa and I hope someday that we may adopt some children and they become ours and be our family forever. But if that happens, we're still going to continue to do foster care. If it doesn't happen, we'll still continue to do foster care because there is such a great need. And I would want people to know that if you want to do something in your community, if you really want to make an impact in a child. And be a safe place for them to come and just kind of lay down the burdens of life that unfortunately they've been dealt. And so for a period of time, they can have a place of peace and rest and safety and love, because it's needed. Unfortunately, it's just needed. And the more people you have carrying that burden, the easier it is.
We're sitting here and we're telling our story, and there are a lot of good things from our story, but it's hard. It's a very hard thing. It's hard, it's rewarding, it's fun, there's a lot of pain at times. I mean, there's just, your emotions run the gamut, basically, because you experience life with these kids. And you hear a lot of things that you don't want to hear. You learn a lot of things about their lives that just breaks your heart. And then helping them deal with the issues that they've come with is heartbreaking at times. So, going into this knowing that you've got a hard, rewarding, fun, tearful road ahead of you is probably the most honest way to put it, because there are moments of, you know, all of those.
As difficult as some of the things we've heard and seen, and the heartbreaking stories we've heard for some of the kids that we've had in our home, none of that compares to the joy we get from being a safe place for those kids. It's just no comparison. It's worth it all. It's worth it all.
There are over 6,000 children in the state of Tennessee foster care system. We need your help. If you've ever thought about being a foster or adoptive parent, please call us at Childhelp at 579-5498.